Good morning. This is week 2 of our winter session for our faith formation classes. And our first reading, the lesson is based on the first reading this week, is from 1 Samuel chapter 3, 1 through 20. So I'm going to read it and then we'll talk. Now the boy Samuel was ministering to the Lord under Eli. The word of the Lord was rare in those days. Visions were not widespread. And at that time, Eli, whose eyesight had begun to grow dim so that he could not see, was lying down in his room. The lamp of God had not yet gone out, and Samuel was lying down in the temple of the Lord where the ark of God was. Then the Lord called, "Samuel, Samuel." And Samuel said, "Here I am." And he ran to Eli, and he said, "Here I am, for you called me." But Eli said, I did not call you. Lie down again." So he went and laid down. The Lord called again, "Samuel, Samuel." So Samuel got up and went to Eli and said, "Here I am, for you called me." But Eli said again, "I did not call you, my son. Lie down again." I wonder if Eli thought he was dreaming. Now Samuel did not yet know the Lord, and the word of the Lord had not yet been revealed to him. The Lord called Samuel again a third time. And so Samuel got up and went to Eli and said, "Here I am, for you called me." Then Eli perceived that the Lord was calling the boy. The Lord was calling the boy. Therefore Eli said to Samuel, "Go lie down, and if he calls you, you shall say, 'Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening.'" So Samuel went and lay down in his place. Now the Lord came and stood there, calling as before, "Samuel, Samuel." And Samuel said, "Speak, for your servant is listening." Then the Lord said to Samuel, "See, I am about to do something in Israel that will both make ears of anyone who hears of it tingle. On that day I will fulfill against Eli all that I have spoken concerning his house, from beginning to end. For I have told him that I am about to punish his house forever for the iniquity that he knew, because his sons were blaspheming God, and he did not restrain them. Therefore I swear to the house of Eli that the iniquity of Eli's house shall not be expiated by sacrifice or offering forever." Samuel lay there until morning, and then he opened the doors of the house of the Lord. Samuel was afraid to tell the vision to Eli. But Eli called Samuel and said, "Samuel, my son." And Samuel said, "Here I am." And Eli said, "What was it that the Lord told you? Do not hide it from me. May God do so to you and more also if you hide anything from me and all that he told you." So Samuel told him everything and hid nothing from him. And then he said, "It is the Lord. Let him do what seems good to him." As Samuel grew up, the Lord was with him and let none of his words fall to the ground. And all Israel, from Dan to Beersheba, knew that Samuel was a trustworthy prophet of the Lord. Kind of an interesting story. So I wonder, when you're laying in your bed, have you ever heard a voice? I don't think I would be too happy if I did. I'd be nervous, right? Or I would probably think it was my parent calling me, or maybe a brother or sister calling my name. And I would definitely run to them and say, "Here I am, what did you need?" But for Samuel, it wasn't Eli calling him at all. It was God. So I wonder what that must have felt like for him. And then the message from God was not one that I think Samuel was happy about hearing, because the message was that Eli's house had done wrong. Eli had not allowed, or had allowed, his sons to blaspheme God, and God was not happy. So now Samuel is burdened with this message to give Eli. I wonder if you've ever had to tell someone you didn't want to tell them, like something that you knew would bother them or something that would scare them or even hurt them. That's a hard thing to do, to tell the truth when it hurts. But sometimes we just need to. Sometimes we need to speak the way the Lord wants us to and tell people the truth. So the story is an interesting one because it sets up a life for Samuel where he is then God's voice to people. People believe that God speaks through him, and so they listen to him. And I think, I don't know of anyone now that is like a prophet like that or someone who speaks for God, but I do know that God's voice can be heard if you listen. It may not be an actual voice that says your name, but it's definitely sometimes an inside voice in your head or in your heart that tells you to go a certain way, to do a certain thing, or to fill a need that's in the community, or to give a hug to someone that needs it. Sometimes we're just kind of pushed by a little voice that tells us to do something good. And so that is a voice I think we should all listen to. And I think it's important to keep our minds and our hearts open to God's voice when we hear it. That's our lesson, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope to see you on Wednesday for our Zoom class. Thanks, bye.